This presentation is a summary of the study conducted by NEDA with technical assistance from JICA. The goal of the study is to formulate a roadmap to improve the traffic and transport situation in the Greater Capital Region. This study is done in collaboration with DOTC, DPWH, MMDA, and other stakeholders. Metro Manila, the economic powerhouse of the Philippines. Alone, this small-sized metropolis contributes more than 1/3 of the country's total GDP. But together with Region 3 and Region 4A that form the Greater Capital Region, GDP share is high at 62% of the national total. Like any bustling, developing city, however, Manila has its own share of urban problems. The three biggest ones are not only closely interrelated, but are also worsening over time. These are traffic congestions, vulnerability to natural disasters, and lack of affordable housing. Let's take a closer look at each one. In the past, traffic congestion is concentrated only during a few hours in the morning and in the afternoon. But today, traffic congestion is everywhere throughout the day, from as early as 7 in the morning up until 9 or 10 in the evening. As of 2012, people in Metro Manila make 12.8 million trips a day. Private vehicles occupy a big portion of the roads, but it is the public vehicles that carry more people on scarce road space. The impact of congestion is staggering, not just in terms of travel cost, presently at 2.4 billion pesos a day. But traffic congestion also has a big negative effect on air quality. By the year 2030, these impacts are projected to increase. This computer simulation of road capacities indicates that almost all roads would be on the red, or capacities would have been exceeded further if nothing is done. Now, take a look at Manila's environmental problem. Metro Manila is vulnerable to natural hazards. As shown here, much of Manila, particularly the east and west areas, is most vulnerable to earthquakes, floods, and landslides. The north and south areas on the axis, however, are low hazard risk areas. Environmental hazards affect millions in Metro Manila and also the Greater Capital Region as a whole. Equally affected are the tens of thousands of informal settler families located in waterways and right-of-ways. Now, let's look at the third major problem. A lack of affordable homes and also poverty force millions of families to live in high and moderate risk areas. There is a great need for affordable housing as we are behind in providing resettling and upgrading to make Filipino homes safer to live in. The increasing pressure of population growth within Manila is the fundamental cause of many problems the city is facing. And urban expansion is spreading to its surrounding areas as in Bulacan, Rizal, Laguna, and Cavite. Without a present solution, these problems will worsen as the population of Mega Manila steadily increases from 23 million to 30 million by the year 2030. To make way for a sustainable development of Metro Manila, three core strategies are proposed. The first is to work out transport, land use, and environmental sector solutions in synergy. The next is to manage urban growth effectively. The third is to strengthen and coordinate actions among LGUs and regions. How can Mega Manila cope? Introducing the Dream Plan, a doable, long-term integrated transport infrastructure development for Mega Manila. The Dream Plan focuses on using transport as a catalyst for sustainable development. It aims to put an end to traffic congestion, households situated in high-risk areas, mobility barriers on the road, excessive transport costs that burden low-income groups, and air pollution. The dream plan envisions that the Greater Capital Region will be a tri-engine of growth for the country by being a gate to a wellspring of hope, a place for livable communities, and a space for dynamic business centers. The dream plan redefines the city's spatial structure, promoting a shift from a radial circumferential pattern to a ladder form. This will guide and support urban expansion on a north to south orientation, thus avoiding high-risk areas. The dream plan also shifts away from a monocentric development strategy where Manila is the central hub, to a polycentric strategy where suburban areas with sub-centers will be developed in Region 3 and Region 4A. Then, Metro Manila, Region 3 and Region 4A will be better connected. GCR is broadly classified into 5 socio-economic clusters. Metro Manila. The North Regional Growth Center comprising Clark, Subic, and Tarlac, which will form the new urban core with the development of Clark Green City and Gateway Port and Airport. The South Regional Growth Center comprising Batangas, Lipa, and Lucena, which will also be a new urban core in the south with the Gateway Port. And the provinces surrounding of Metro Manila, including Bulacan, Cavite, and Laguna, which will host new towns. The 5 clusters will be connected with competitive transport backbone, such as expressways and mass transit rails. Bulacan, Cavite, and Laguna will accommodate informal settler families from high-risk areas and those in need of affordable housing in the new urban areas to be built. This population and socio-economic activities will be accommodated in a balanced manner, contributing to the decongestion of Metro Manila. Existing urban areas will be retrofitted and integrated with improved public transport system. This includes port areas, waterfront, and NAIA, among others. When it comes to the expressways, the NLEX-SLEX connection will play a major role and is urgently needed to reduce congestion on EDSA, divert long-haul traffic from urban roads, and improve port access. This expressway connector includes the following project components. Together with other expressways, the expressway network will further attract urban and intercity traffic away from congested at-grade roads. These expressways are developed with users who are willing to pay for congestion-free service. Another important transport intervention is the high-quality and high-capacity suburban rail systems. These are the North-South Commuter Rail and the Mega Manila Subway. The suburban rails will strengthen the connectivity between Manila and its neighboring regions, while serving as the guiding path for developing new urban centers and residential zones, where people are provided with affordable housing and better living environment and commuting services. The elevated North-South Commuter Rail will stretch 91 kilometers from Malolos to Calamba, using the PNR right-of-way, and will open up to a future extension to Clark. The North-South Commuter Rail will have no level crossings at main roads, thus allowing the creation of at-grade urban roads. Land use will be connected and new development opportunities will emerge at and around stations. The Mega Manila Subway will be built to stretch from San Jose del Monte to Dasmariñas in rapidly developing areas. The new subway will dramatically improve mobility and accessibility along EDSA and other roads, and promote north-south urban growth and new land development. When it comes to integrating suburban rails and development of new towns, Japan has a lot of experience we can learn from. One is the Kashiwanoha Smart City along the Tsukuba Express Rail. Another is the Tokyo Tama Denentoshi along the Tokyo Denentoshi line. Both new towns and suburban rail were developed by private sector alone. Do opportunities for a large-scale new town development exist for Mega Manila? The answer is yes. The public and private sectors own large properties on the north and south axis of GCR. There is active development of subdivisions. The law also provides that 20% of total project cost or area be allocated for low-cost housing. The Dream Plan will use the public-private partnership model, where the government will develop the north-south commuter rail and access roads and provide basic infrastructure and public service, while the private sector will develop affordable housing, commercial, industrial, education, and recreational projects. This can answer the estimated demand of 5 to 10 new towns for 1 to 2 million households. Part of the Dream Plan is assigning new roles to the existing gateway ports of Manila, Subic, and Batangas, all to maximize capacities and development opportunities. Controlling the future expansion of Manila ports and providing the shippers with incentives to use Subic and Batangas ports will aid in distributing and sharing Manila's cargo handling functions to the 2 other ports. The Manila port will also be regenerated into high value-added diversified waterfront areas, similar to those in Yokohama and Seattle and many other ports in the world. Airports will also be repurposed. Clark and Manila airports will serve as gateway ports for Greater Capital Region. A new NAIA will be developed in the vicinity of Metro Manila to be as competitive as those of Singapore and Hong Kong. The existing NAIA will then be closed and converted into the new Central Business District. The Dream Plan will further include 5 components specifically for Mega Manila. Construction of missing links of urban roads will be completed, while new ones will also be built. There will also be intercity and urban expressways, integrated physically and in terms of its toll system, operations, and management. Construction and improvement of vital links have commenced, such as the rehabilitation of EDSA, the Plaridel Bypass Road, the Anghari SLEX Link, Skyway 3, NAIA Expressway, and Star Expressway, and many more are already in the pipeline. Urban and suburban rail networks will be expanded in hierarchy and in integration with different systems. Capacities of existing urban rails are currently being increased. New lines are already in the planning stage. The goal of the mass transit rail network is to provide the people with convenient, comfortable services at affordable cost and promote reorganization of urban areas based on the transit-oriented development or TOD concept. Just like in these cities, careful selection of appropriate mass transit systems will also be carried out to introduce a proper system in proper locations. There is now the integration of the provincial bus services for the southwest routes of Mega Manila. Other areas will also see the same improvement. Buses and jeepneys in the future will still play a major role, so fleets and operations will be modernized. Their routes, terminals, and interchange facilities will also be reorganized. Considering the complex situation, this then calls for a comprehensive, road-based public transport study. On top of these, traffic management will be improved, as it is the fundamental action to maximize the use of available infrastructures. This also requires a comprehensive study to cover the many interactive aspects of traffic management systematically. These include capacity building on traffic enforcement and education, improvement of infrastructure and facilities such as signaling, intersections, flyovers, parking, and others, traffic safety, demand management, and improvement of pedestrian environment. Advancements in transport technologies and systems that can be of help include those that promote greater use of public transport, low-emission vehicles, automated and mobile systems, and others. Manila will see positive impacts, especially on road traffic, as more roads will be freed up from congestion. Significant impacts outstriding investment costs will be realized economically. Financially, socially, and environmentally by the year 2030. Without traffic congestions, people can reach farther areas much faster than today. We've always had the plans. We've always had the go signal. Now, funding is no object. The estimated budget envelope for transport investments can cover the short-term plans and can be managed for the medium and long-term plans. For example, the total Dream Plan cost of 2.4 trillion is well within the national transport budget envelope of 4.8 trillion pesos. The short-term program of 520 billion is also within that of the 539 billion pesos budget. Manila was once a well-planned, progressive, mass transit-based region. Its urban area was well laid out for a population of 300,000. It had an extensive tranvia network stretching 85 kilometers, and housing estates were developed in the suburban areas along the tranvia routes. This was purely a private sector initiative. 40% of the travel demand was met by the tranvia and supplemented by a large number of calesas. Pedestrian space was provided and traffic management was also in place. Compact and transit-oriented urban area was then already a reality. We don't have to look far. Our own history provides a model for a better future. Let's continue pursuing our dream.